A double dose of news, Titans fans. We got a trade, and it involves Jarvis Brownlee Jr. as he is heading to the Big Apple and New York Jets. And then Brian Callahan giving up play calling, and it's moving to the quarterback's coach. We'll break that all down here on today's episode of Titans Today by Chat Sports. But let's start with the trade. And the Titans, they got the report. We got the report from Jordan Schultz. They're trading Jarvis Brownlee Jr. to the Jets in exchange for a 2026 late round pick swap. And then I got the full details from Diane Rossini right in front of me. It is Jarvis Brownlee Jr., a 2026 7th for a 2026 6th round pick. And this is why you subscribe to the channel. When the Titans make a move, we make a video. So you hit that sub button right now. We're also breaking down exactly what this means for the Titans, for Brian Callahan giving up the play calling, and also just what this trade means. So my first reaction to it, and it was like, why? Why would the Titans get rid of one of their starting cornerbacks? Because if you look, you have Jarvis Brownlee Jr., or had Jarvis Brownlee Jr., you had L'Jarius Sneed, and then Roger McCreary, and then after that, it's really no one. The Titans have absolutely no depth at cornerback. And here is your new Titans depth chart, because obviously Darrell Baker is going to step up in that cornerback 2 slot. You have L'Jarius Sneed, you have Roger McCreary, and then a bunch of absolute nobodies. This trade just does not make sense to me at all, because you had those 3 guys who were playing solid. And when I say solid, I liked what I saw from McCreary. He was kind of stepping in. I think he had an interception in that first game. And then, L'Jarius Sneed, he just absolutely, let's be honest here, he does not look like himself. I think he's still getting back from injury. He's not fully healthy. And then you had Jarvis Brownlee Jr., who also was not playing the greatest. 13 tackles on the year in 2 games played, because we'll get into that in a second. 8 receptions on 10 targets. When quarterbacks are targeting, specifically Brownlee Jr., they've completed 8 out of 10 passes, and his PFF grade as a total was 59.0. And then also, if you saw his coverage grade, it was 61.0. Brownlee's also dealing with a foot injury. We saw on Sunday that he was in a walking boot and he did not play. So maybe that was kind of the reason why they said, okay, well, let's kind of move into another direction. But he's only a second-year player. He had multiple time to get better, to develop, and the Titans are just going to get rid of him. This trade doesn't make sense. It does not make sense, and I like what I saw from him. Last year, he was a solid player. He started in 14 games. I do not like giving up on a second-year solid player. I do not like what the Titans are doing, and this just kind of just comes all full circle to just how much of a dumpster fire this team is. Because after that, what do you expect now? With L'Jarius Sneed not performing well, you're just going to go to your bench? And the Titans, they only have one person on the practice squad right now for cornerback. And that is Sam Webb, the journeyman cornerback that only saw majority of his time in Las Vegas. I don't understand this trade. And you didn't even get that much for it. A 6th round pick. What are you going to use that 6th round pick for? Another cornerback? And is he going to be as good? Probably not. You should have let him develop into the cornerback that he could become. And now he's heading over to New York. And probably with the Titans' luck, he'll be good for them. So now you have even more weakness at the defensive back position than you already had. So go into the comments section for me down below. Grade the Jarvis Brownlee trade. Give me an A, B, C, D, or F. I am going to give it a D. I mean, at least you got a pick for it, and you got a little bit better pick for it. So I guess that's about it. We're going to break down exactly what the original video was supposed to be about before we got the news that a trade was happening, and it was Brian Callahan relinquishing play calling duties. But we'll get into that in a second. But first, I got to tell you about our sponsor of today's show, and that is brought to you by PrizePicks. You and I make decisions every day, but on PrizePicks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on PrizePicks, where it's good to be right. PrizePicks is simple to play. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you can cash in. PrizePicks is the best way to win cash this football season. Which players are going off? Which ones aren't? Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your takes into cash all season long. on PrizePicks. I made a lineup for this Sunday's game against the Houston Texans, and also a max discount. Jalen Hurts, more than 1 yard. It's going to take him a lot to go get that original player projection, 203.5. But give me the more on that, obviously. And then Calvin Ridley, he's been a shell of himself. I think he might be washed. Less than 51.5 receiving yards. And Cam Ward, give me the more with the new play caller. Give me the more on 192.5 passing yards. You can make a lineup just like that one when you download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. Okay, we saw the news come this morning, come from Adam Schefter, come from Ian Rappaport, and it was that the Titans are getting new play caller duties going forward, and it came in because Brian Callahan, he's obviously struggling with the play calling duties, with managing both the head coaching team and just in general. He's handing over the play calling duties to Bo Hardigree, the quarterback's coach and offensive assistant, which I actually think this is the best move that you could possibly do. It takes a plate off, or it takes something off of Brian Callahan's plate. Trying to think of the words here. But this comes from Adam Schefter earlier this morning, and he's relinquishing his game day play calling duties to the quarterback coach, Bo Hardigree. The only problem that I have here is you're skipping the offensive coordinator? Like, that is kind of a little interesting, and as a fan, if I'm rooting for the Titans, I really don't like how you're just going straight to the quarterback's coach. But I will say, this is the last Hail Mary for Brian Callahan to try to save his job. If this doesn't work, because you've already gotten rid of your play calling duties, you're already trying to change up everything, it's the last Hail Mary. If it doesn't work, you're gone. And you see the Titans offense. It's been horrid. It's been terrible. And the play calling has been outright horrific. 222 yards per game, 31st in the NFL. The passing yards has been bad, 32nd in the NFL, dead last. The rushing yards, 28th, bottom 5. Points per game, bottom 5. Third down percentage, bottom 5. So obviously they see that and they have to change that. And Brian Callahan, he said this, getting rid of his play calling duties. A lot of the things you self-reflect on with the start that we've had so far and things we have to get better at. And one of those things that I think will help our football team, help me as a better head coach for our team, and I'm going to hand over the play calling to Bo. Bo has had some experience calling plays. He's been with a rookie quarterback before, and that part will make it a little bit seamless in that regard. So you might have some questions. If you're not that deep into kind of the Titans and know their exact coaching staff all the way down to the QB coach, who is Bo Hardigree? Well, he's the quarterback's coach for the Titans. He's been in the league for 12 seasons, and the highest position that he's had, he served as the Raiders' interim OC back all the way in 2023 after Josh McDaniels was fired on Halloween while he was trick-or-treating. And he's also just been a good play caller. When he was with the Raiders, he was a lot better than McDaniels, and the Raiders saw them increase. But why would the Titans try to make this move? Why is Brian Callahan just saying, screw it, I'll hand it over? Well, there's been way too much on his plate, and there's been mismanagements throughout the whole entire season, and we're only on week 3. We remember week 1. He forgot the rules. He did not know what a catch was, and he did not know an elbow meant 2 feet. That was already 1. Then throwing the ball 3 times from the 1 when it was crunch time, well, not crunch time, right before the end of the first half. And then last week, he could not decide to take a field goal or go for it. The Colts called a timeout. Then the Titans called a timeout. And he came out and was still that indecisive, which led to a delay of game, which led to the missing the field goal, which led to the Colts getting points. Just bad mismanagements. And I think that knowing he has to call the plays and also try to head coach at the same time is too much for him. And you determine if that is worth being a head coach or not. But with all this movement and kind of relinquishing the play calling from the head coach, it just makes me think it is more likely that he is going to get fired at this point. Because you're not calling plays. You're not really doing anything at this point except being the head CEO, the head leader. So what is he doing? And people might say, well, Brett, There's a whole bunch of head coaches that are non-play callers in the National Football League. Well, all the non-play calling head coaches are kind of proven head coaches, and they're all good teams. Like, for example, Nick Sirianni doesn't call the plays, and they just won the Super Bowl. Dan Campbell doesn't call the plays, and the Lions are one of the best teams in football. Every single non-play calling head coach is proven. And then Brian Callahan, what has he proven? Absolutely nothing. He's actually proven to me that he should probably be a coordinator and not a head coach. So let's go back to kind of Bo Hardigree. And he was with the Raiders, and he was the interim OC after Josh McDaniels got fired. He became the play caller. And if you saw what the Raiders were back in 2023, the offense was horrid. But then it completely changed when Bo took over. And the stats, they do not lie. When Las Vegas was with Josh McDaniels for the first 8 games of the season, their record was 3-5. They were under 500. It was a 268 yards per game, 198 passing yards per game, and only 15 points per game. Well, then Bo Hardigree took over. And that's when the script completely flipped. 5-4 record. Then it went up all the way to 300 yards per game, almost 200 passing yards per game, and their points per game went up to almost 23, a 5-4 record. And I don't think you guys remember, but it was a Thursday night game where they scored 63 damn points on the Chargers, and everybody was shook. Who was calling plays? Bo Hardigree. So it was also, the Titans think, hey, maybe this is our Raiders 2023 moment. But if you guys remember, the head coach got fired. So that's kind of what changed. Antonio Pierce took over. But Hardigree could open up this offense. He could finally get Calvin Ridley to be the wide receiver that we think he should be. Actually, what he's being paid to be. Because he's being paid to be an all-star wide receiver, a superstar wide receiver, and he's not being that right now. He's also could get Cam Ward, because I don't know if you guys remember back in 2023 when Aiden O'Connell was a rookie, that was their quarterback. And Aiden O'Connell kind of came into his own and started looking incredible and was like, hey, maybe I can get a chance of being the starting quarterback. Well, guess what, guys? Cam Ward is a rookie, and I think he's a lot better than Aiden O'Connell. So I think Bo Hardigree could actually get him a lot better and maybe have this offense clicking and scoring more points per game. But if nothing happens, if this offense just stays stagnant, if they stay losing games, if they stay looking like a terrible team, Brian Callahan could be gone as early as week 6, in my opinion. And thankfully, because I know you guys saw all of the fans booing at Nissan Stadium at halftime, well, they don't go back to Nissan Stadium for about another month. The next 3 games are on the road, and it's the Texans, who they're also 0-3, and they're fighting for their lives at this point. Then you go to Arizona. Then you go to the Raiders, and then good old Mike Vrabel comes back to Nashville, and you got to play the New England Patriots. So it's going to determine if you go 0-4 in these next 4 games, or even 0-3. I don't think that Amy Adams Strunk is going to be too happy with the record and what the Titans are performing, and they might need to make some changes. And that's going to involve Brian Callahan losing his job. If you think the Titans could go 500 in the next 4 games, go ahead, hit that thumbs up icon, like the video for me. And while you're also down there, like I said, when the Titans make a move, we make a video. So go and subscribe to Titans Today. And as always, tighten up.